Perfect. Okay, so I wanted to try and share a bit about my wedding day stories. So what I'm doing is showing you a slideshow. It would normally have someone's first dance playing in the background, but this gives you a sense of how I photograph a wedding. So starting with all of the special details, and I will have spoken to the couple beforehand and really worked out what it is that they're excited about. So for Jo here, it was the shoes, and also you'll notice later some amazing nail art that she'd done, as well as bunting and even some superheroes sneaking in for a really personal wedding. So a nice relaxed morning with the bride and her family getting ready together, and really capturing that excitement, but also the kind of moments together. There we go, that's the nail art that she chose. Then heading over to the church where I'll meet up with the groom, catch up with him and the best man, and see them together at the church. So you're getting kind of both sides of the story in the morning. We have the bride arriving here in a VW camper van, and then her dad ready to lead her down the aisle. In the wedding ceremony itself, I'm really discreet. I wear rubber-soled shoes. I sneak about like a ninja. I don't use flash, so I can get these kind of really natural shots without kind of disrupting the ceremony, which is always really important. So you'll see in a minute I've moved to back of the church, so that's something that I would do during the hymn. Here we are. So you can still get a chance to sort of see all of your guests and see the ceremony from their perspective too. And certainly here, the vicar at the end of the ceremony had told me he didn't even notice me in the church, so that's always a bonus. And then, yeah, so I'm capturing these moments kind of discreetly as I can, but also going through with them to capture the signing of the register and their witnesses together before seeing them coming out of the church as man and wife. Jo and Ali actually had their first kiss outside, so I was there to capture that. So they headed over to the Perch, which is a lovely riverside venue in Oxford. Going through the group shots there, so that's something I plan out with my couples in advance, so we can do them really easily, really relaxed, nice and natural, but also not taking too much time away from you and your guests. And we were lucky to do that before the rain started. As you can see, we then had to leave indoors for their reception, and so we'll see later we snuck out for some photos in the rain. So then we're on to the speeches, and I love the reactions always of especially the bride and groom when they're doing speeches for each other. I always think that's really special to capture all that laughter and sometimes a bit of embarrassment. So yeah, even on rainy day weddings, I will persuade you to come outside and have some beautiful natural portraits taken. I always bring a big white umbrella so that we can do that no matter what the weather is. And then again, a really kind of natural style, so I give gentle directions for posing, but really it's about focusing on the emotions of the day and the two of you together. So you can see the rugby and the superheroes coming into the cake cutting there, and their first dance. That's the music that this slideshow would be set to if I wasn't talking over it. This couple had a silent disco then for their wedding, which was an amazing idea, really quirky, and got everybody into it. And we were really lucky at the end of the day. I always keep an eye on the weather, and we got a break in the rain, so we hurried out just to get these beautiful shots before sunset, just as a way of kind of finishing their story off. And what I like about these slideshows is that it maybe shows your friends and relatives more photos than you might see otherwise from a wedding day, and it also gives you a way of kind of seeing those images as a whole story, rather than just sort of that one-off portrait that you might print and put up at home.
Fantastic. Those photos are gorgeous, Hannah. I'm just going to have to jump in there and say they really are. So guys, any questions that you think brides and grooms-to-be should be asking Hannah before they book a wedding photographer?
Yeah. You know how you talked about the group shots there, Hannah? How would you chat with the couple about that beforehand then?
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. People often want group shots, for often sometimes more for parents, that they like kind of the more formal style, but they don't want it to take up the whole of their kind of drinks reception. So being really organised about it, getting a list of all the groups they want, all the people in that group, and also identifying someone on both the bride and the groom side who can help me just to organise people. So someone who knows the family members. And that way we can get through them really quickly. It's not sort of so stressful. And I'll also generally schedule it into the day before all the guests disperse, because once people have kind of gone off and got drinks or gone to the toilet, it's generally harder to get people back together. So thinking about where to do that within the wedding day planning is really important as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
I guess I wanted to ask, what tips do you have for brides to help them feel more confident in front of the camera?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, and I get loads of brides and grooms saying to me, you know, oh, we're really not photogenic at all, or we hate having our photo taken. And actually, all of my wedding packages include an engagement shoot, and I just really recommend that. It's 2 hours where there's no pressure. It's not your wedding day. You can be somewhere that you feel calm and relaxed. You can be wearing whatever you feel most comfortable in. And we can just spend that time both getting to know each other, which I think is a good tip. If you know the person photographing you, I think that makes a big difference. I get used to them, they get used to being photographed. And I think during that, we all pick up kind of tips that we know will work. So I'll learn a bit more about them, and I might then tease them about that when they're having their pictures taken on their wedding day and be like, oh yeah, so how did that stag do and so ever? How did that go? And that just gets them laughing and relaxed, or we'll know that kind of there are certain ways that they like to stand together or be together that just, you know, really work for them as a couple. And because we found that already in the engagement shoot, then again, we don't sort of take all of their wedding reception doing their photos. We can go for 20 minutes or so, and then maybe another 10 minutes at sunset, and that's enough time for us to create those images.
That's great.
So Hannah, I think brides and grooms, and generally actually anybody that looks at anything visual, they tend to have a feeling inside, oh, I like that. Oh, that suits me. I love that. And usually they can't really actually tie down what it is specifically about it that they like. They just know that they like it. Now, in that set of photographs that you just showed in the slideshow, the thing that stuck out to me the most, or was the most prominent, was the expressions in the people's faces were absolutely bang on, absolutely perfect. Is that, would you say that that's something that comes naturally, or is it something that's honed over time, or because that's a skill, isn't it?
I think that's definitely what I look for. What I'm aiming for is to capture emotion, because I think that's really what weddings are all about. So yes, that's something that I'm specifically looking for. So I'm really glad it came across in the pictures. But I do think different photographers focus on different things, and it is about finding someone not only who you get on with well, because you're going to be spending most of your wedding day with them, but also whose style really speaks to you. And if you want something that's kind of more dramatic and more staged, then that's what you need to look for. If you want something that's more kind of almost paparazzi style, reportage style, you need to go for that. If you're looking for try and offer, which is this kind of romantic but emotional images that really tell a story, then it's the emotions and the expressions that you should be looking for more when you're checking through portfolios.